Like I promised you, I'm going to learn a chant, and we've learned this chant. Are you ready for me?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna lead us, ne?
Okay. One. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Yay! Sign me up today. The very first ever nightcap convo for the year. Super psyched to be doing this with you. Thank you so much for joining in on the chat. My name is Mncedisi, but you can call me Mncedisi. First of all, I didn't even know that you could be a monk in South Africa. How big is the monk community here in Mzansi?
Not so big, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
In the early 2000s, when I came upon it, there was a bigger community. I think it's always an evolving community because some people do it for a few months, a few years, and then there's a few who take it lifelong. So we always get some traffic. I think at this point, traffic isn't so high.
Oh my goodness, we're gonna have a chat about that because I really want to know what makes people decide to be monks. But Google, when I was looking it up, I was like, okay, so let me be well versed in this. Google defines a monk as a person who dedicated his life to religion, partly by giving up some aspects of regular worldly life, right? So in your opinion, would you say you have experienced monkness, if that's a word, to be true in this sense?
To be a monk, yes, involves regulating your mind and senses, a bit of ascetic life, living in a monastery, and studying, culturing higher values, including God consciousness. Different orders have different regimes. But yes, for getting something higher, then one has to let go of something lower.
I'm thinking about the title now of the book, The Monk Who Gave Away His Ferrari. Is the Ferrari something higher he had to give up? What do you think about that actually? Do you think he gave up the Ferrari because it was attached to something lower in his life? Or do you think it had a symbolism in his life? Or do you just think that, oh, you're a monk, you can't have a car?
Yeah, most people think like that. That to be a monk means to be without any visible material facility.
Yeah.
But actually, to be a monk is a mentality. And that mentality is understanding that all energies, matter, belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so the principle is utility. How will you use what you have for a higher purpose of service? So him giving up that Ferrari being a symbol of his attachment, he wanted to have a fresh start without the pride that comes from whatever I possess.
That makes 100% sense. So take me back to your second year of university. This is when you decide to make this life-changing decision. What was your life like before you decided?
It was hectic in the normal ways that a university student has life. Social life.
You're holding back. Give us more. Hectic how?
Normal, the nightlife, the womanizing.
Ooh, okay.
And also just trying to get by with your studies. But buried under all that revelry was like an innate desire to know. Who am I? What is this world all about? How can I be more qualified to offer love? I'm deeply interested in love. And I'd seen that those who wanted to love me came up short in terms of their qualification, and I also came up short in showing love. So I wanted to understand that better.
How did you qualify though? How do you qualify somebody giving you love? How do I fall short in loving you? How do we qualify that?
So first of all, you have to know who I am.
Right.
So if you cannot understand who I am deeply, then how can you love me? And also, if you don't know yourself, then you don't really know how to receive love. So it generally becomes a superficial thing.
100%.
Like I'm attached to your personality. I like your style of dress, or we vibe according to different music. And those things don't land deeply when we come to love, because it's the concept itself of love is a very deep concept.
I love the fact that you're talking about love and how you just said now that it's a deep concept. Just briefly, if I can put you on the spot, what is your definition of love?
Well, love has to be something which, even in the face of all reasons for it to break and stop, it doesn't. Love is also based on selflessness. It is exclusively for the pleasure of the beloved. It is self-giving. It is self-sacrificing. And at its highest, it is completely devoid of any inkling of personal gain.
Aww, I love that. I love that. I really love that. All right, so you are in varsity now. You make this decision. I want us to take a look at your life holistically. What do you feel like? And I don't want to per se say had to give up, because then I don't like how it sounds. But what do you, for lack of better words, what do you feel like you've had to give up in this journey of yours? When you look at what your life was, the things that you enjoyed, the things that you used to do, what did you have to give up? What have you given up?
In the beginning, yes, it looked like a bit of giving up. They say no pain, no gain. And then there was a whole scene of people around me, and I'm in college. We've got our own movement. We're the Black Consciousness movement.
Oh, okay.
And so our whole thing is, let's create our own empires. Why are they keeping us at university, taking our time regulated? Let's use it to gain. The friends came along for, the first part of the journey, maybe 6 months to a year. Most of us took to this understanding of Bhakti Yoga because we met it at university. I had a girlfriend at the time. She was also involved. And so what happened is, I think I lost a lot of suffering. I had to give up a lot of suffering.
That's an interesting way to look at it. So, wow, I'm speechless. Wow, I'm speechless. Wow, okay, wow. I love that. And I love how you're also speaking about how this happened for you when you were in college. Take me back to the day. What does that day look like? Is it a Tuesday? Is it a Wednesday? Is it summer? Is it cold? Do you run into the office because you just, need to get out of the cold? Is this a conscious decision? What happened that day on campus when this was first introduced to you?
Okay, it starts at main campus. We're just kind of walking loud and talking with friends. Corridor, there's a poster. It says Bhakti Yoga Society. It has a topic, a cure for all diseases. So I'm like, these guys are like smoking weed or something, or they're onto something. But we're attracted because yoga, at that time we're on consciousness development, so we should check it out. We go to the arts campus, we see a monk dressed in orange. So we run to this guy because he looks different. He must know something we all don't know. What's happening? Yeah, we're doing the Bhakti Yoga Society. Okay, we'll be there after we go past the herbal garden. We got back, he's speaking, it makes sense, and I'm just like, they're vegetarians, they've got like some chant and dance. I thought, this is my people.
What about this lifestyle attracted you? Was it how maybe easy they were, how they were vegetarian? Maybe you just was like, I really don't feel like cow anymore. Hey, like I'm tired. What about this lifestyle attracted you to them?
Knowledge. They had very clear knowledge. I'd been already looking into the questions of life, and I'd gone through so many phases. Rastafari was my starting place. And Bob Marley is my original guru. Took care of me through a lot. I was looking into the Black Consciousness leadership. I looked into Buddhism, a bit of what's Tom Cruise's religion?
Yo, and that's all I know is Mission Impossible when I hear Tom Cruise.
Scientology. Yeah, and of course we're raised Christian. And so I'd always wanted to answer a few questions. And so when he spoke, he addressed me at the level of the soul. And at that time, I was struggling with just being black, because we're in the black consciousness space and we're all feeling hurt about what has happened. But I can't fully identify that I'm just the skin color that I am. And I can understand that there's good people and bad people in all shades of color. And I'd like to help. And when he talks of the soul, then there's a unity. And then I'm, oh yes, I have this body, I'm not this body. And so that knowledge was really just so attractive, because it was able to fit in everything I'd learned and gave me more also.
You strike me literally as a scholar of life. Like when I listen to you speak, I'm hearing somebody who loves life, and you want to live it to its fullest. So you want your eyes to be open to the fullest. I don't know if I'm hitting the nail on the head there.
Yeah, you're right on, spot on.
Oh, yes. Love that.
Yes.
Quickly talk to me about how you decided to then park your journey here. Because you speak about how you went to Scientology, you went Buddhist, you were born and raised Christian. What then stops your journey at being a monk? Why stop here and not the others?
Yeah, there is that temptation to be sort of addicted to the search. But if your search is genuine, and then if you find the answers, then the truth is so confronting that you have to admit to yourself, were you just being insincere or were you being honest? Because once you find the answers, the next step is that apply them. Otherwise, all that knowledge acquired becomes just like the spoon that's turning the stew, but it's never tasted anything.
Have you ever received comments like, "Oh, you're a black monk. How does a black person become a monk?" Like, have you ever had to go through that? And I mean, you mentioned earlier off air that natively you're born Swati, and obviously you have traditions at home. How does this all tie together, being black and being a monk?
Yeah, it's always a question. People wonder.
Yeah.
And people, honestly, so they say, I've never met a black monk.
Yeah.
And then when you speak a local language, then it's even more shocking. But because there's been religion or Christianity and Islam, ZCCs and all that, when they see the robes, they can understand it has to do with godly life. And so it's not really too far off from what people know. It just tends to be unknown. So when they search their minds to see something that looks like what they're seeing and they don't find anything, they kind of panic. It's the first time they see it. But when we discuss, because these principles are universal, people immediately sort of identify. Yeah.
And I mean, I guess you can identify even more when you hear them speak your language, Like you get there like, hey, tada, you're like, hey, all right, we're moving on this journey. So then you decide to be a monk, you get into this journey, you then go to the Drakensberg for a retreat. Must be so nice. How was the Drakensberg for you?
Drakensberg, we had a whole plan, to find ourselves. We're with the retreat people, but me and my friends and the whole crew, we have our own ideas.
Yeah.
They're running a spiritual growth
Yeah.
sort of retreat, clean habits, meditation. And we are finding ourselves also through our herbs and but they're so they were very loving to us. Nobody ever got on a case on that. There I discovered the power of this Hare Krishna mantra meditation. Because in the morning they teach us how to chant on beads. We go up the hills, we're singing. In the night, we're singing. And on the last day, we're going back to Pretoria. I can hear the music playing, and I can understand, wow, one song the whole weekend, and we didn't realize it was just one song. We're not bored. So I could personally experience that it must be spiritual. It must be off the material plane. I thought. So I must try it.
Yeah, I wanna ask you. So if you've watched a movie, a movie about monks, you realize that the two things you just mentioned now are in the movies. There's chanting, there's singing. What's the difference between the two? What are you chanting and what are you singing? Are the chants a prayer? Is the singing for entertainment, or is there significant meaning to them both? What's going on there?
So the chant, the different chanting is mantra. So mantra is combination of two words in Sanskrit, mana and trayate. So mana means the mind, trayate means to free or to release. So sounds that free the mind. The mind is caught up in the unknown future, in the past that is gone. It is always lamenting about things, hankering, and we're absorbed in this body. So the chanting is the same when it's done for personal hearing. It's also called chanting. And also when it's in song. But then song makes it easy for the mind to be absorbed. Because there's music, it carries the sound vibration to the ear and to the heart, better absorption. And generally for the group to sort of do the meditation together, then the singing is done. But on a personal front, then one chants softly for their own hearing on their own beats. So it's all for absorbing the mind on the spiritual plane. So it also cleans out the consciousness.
Are the chants sacred, or is it something that you could teach me?
They are sacred and they are for everyone.
That's fantastic. So you're going to teach me a chant, and then after we take a break, then we're going to come back and then we're going to chant together. Just a small one, a tiny one. I mean, I had to bow, so might as well, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
All right, so tell me quickly, then you decide to let your family into this lifestyle choice that you're making. How do they react? How do your parents react? How does your family react?
They are a little shocked and a bit afraid. They're puzzled what's going on. You're supposed to be doing your education. You know, we're raised Catholic and Lutheran in the family, so Christian. So they're wondering, you know, what has come into his life.
What's going on?
Yeah, and but my mother is very loving, understanding person, so we speak about it. And I asked for some time to take a gap just to sort myself out with the promise to get back to my education. So, yeah, different parts of the family had different reactions, but I never got any heaviness in terms of someone trying to fight me.
Yeah. Absolutely love that. So when you then decide, okay, I'm going to do this thing, is there a ceremony that you have to go through? Is there an initiation process? What happens before I can put on your orange robe?
Okay, the orange robe comes maybe 2 years later. I moved to Hatfield, the ashram, corner church in Duncan, and lifestyle changes, waking up times, the education, the services. I'm back in the city now, sharing this knowledge with others. After a year or so, I meet my spiritual master to be, and I'm attracted to how he teaches and his qualities. I let him know about it, and then I become an aspiring disciple, and I follow the principles of purification. And after some time, then I'm cleared to formally take initiation. There's a ceremony, and this took place in Durban. And it was a few of us that were becoming formally initiated. Beautiful ceremony, fire, fruits, garlands.
What happens there? Are you allowed to talk about it? What happens at the initiation ceremony?
The initiation ceremony is welcoming a soul who is formally vowing to follow a lifestyle that they've been. So there we promise to follow 4 principles, which is no intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating, and no illicit sex. But those are just to help us.
What does that mean? What does illicit sex mean?
It means sex out of marriage.
Oh. Hey, so no hookups, no one night stands, and no girlfriend sex between people in a relationship?
So that is there. Different levels of application are there. Within the marriage situation, then it's okay, it's happening. If the couple has really evolved spiritually, it would be then sex would be for procreation, as it is
Okay.
naturally there.
Has been intended. to
Yes, but we live in a culture where people are dating and all of this. So no matter what your situation, you take up the process,
Mhm.
and when you've really made great strides, then it wouldn't be a difficult thing because you're getting spiritually nourished. And so, but the most important part of it was the positive vow that daily I will take shelter of this chanting, because that's where we are getting a higher taste.
So then after you take this vow, then it's just a celebration.
Then
You're eating the fruits, you're dancing,
the
singing.
spiritual master gives you a name in relation to Krishna or his different servants according to God. Just like we get names like John, Matthew, according to the saints. So yes, and people celebrate that. Oh, your new name is.
Yeah.
Then there's a whole festival of dancing, singing, and a big feast.
Oh, that's beautiful. I can imagine it's so fun. I can just picture it in my head. And I can imagine then if you're outside of the community, then you can't attend.
No, everybody is welcome.
Oh, really?
Everybody's welcome.
You are taking me to an initiation ceremony.
I'll
You
do
have
that.
to.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have to.
You can come see it.
100%. It's a promise. You've made it on air. All right. Quickly, I want us to talk about the things that you wear. Right now, you're draped in... Oh, it's linen. I can say that it's linen, but it's not how linen as you would imagine it, over your shoulder and around your waist. What is the dress code? Is there a specific dress code that you go for, or are you not?
Yeah, for the monks, then the principle is simple living, higher thinking. So the clothing also should be inexpensive, should be easy to keep clean, and also it should sort of bring us humility over your consciousness when you wear it. So the robes are such that when you're wearing them, then all that sort of I think I'm Mr. Cool, Mr. Town, it melts away.
100%.
Yes,
Yeah.
it sort of brings upon you that I'm representing a divine culture, and I'm a servant of greater humanity, ultimately a servant of God. So the orange is for the celibate monks, and when people who are not openly celibate and following these principles want to sort of be in the mood, they'll wear white of this shirt and robe. Yeah.
So if you wear orange like you are now, you've taken a vow of celibacy.
Yes.
Huh, that's super interesting. For people, obviously, we can't see you now, but you have a piece of hair on your head. You've shaved off your entire hair, but you have a piece of hair left. What does that symbolize? Is that just style that you prefer or like, or is there symbolism that's attached to that?
Yeah, this is called a shika, which means flag.
A sika.
Yes. Sometimes it's pronounced shika. So,
Shika, okay, yeah.
So it is this tuft of hair is like a flag. So the body is understood to be the temple of God. So on the temple flies the victory flag that the soul within it is surrendering body, mind, and words, at least trying to the will of the Supreme.
Huh, that is so interesting. So that's your flag. That's your victory flag. Say, Mama, I made it. I'm doing it.
I'm trying to.
Listen, we're going to take a quick break. We have Savia the monk in studio with us tonight. If you have any questions for him, please send them on the Y app right now. We're talking being a monk in South Africa, being a monk in the world, what it entails, and everything about it. Y app right now, absolutely free to download on iOS and on Android. For now, here's some Zex Bantwini. It's Kasango. It's called Osama. I'm going to learn a chant. When we come back, I'm going to surprise you, and I'm going to give you a monk chant. We're having nightcap convos on the nightcap on Y. Stick around. Thank you. This is so beautiful.
I think I learned one on YouTube.
Oh. Savia. Damn it.
But you're still shy to say
That's
it.
the part I remember. But I remember
Savia.
it's...
We have 3 minutes to get this right.
Okay. So easy. So Hare Krishna,
Hare
You
Krishna.
see,
that's twice.
Hare
so
Krishna,
to be-
Hare Krishna.
Then Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
So it's these two words, Hare Krishna, you say them twice, and then separate, Krishna Krishna, and then Hare Hare.
Okay, so but do it for me quickly. Let's
Yeah.
go.
So
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.
Oh,
Yeah. No, there's two parts. And
Thank you.
just to make it easy, because
Oh, there's a thing.
you can see that it's not as difficult as it may sound.
Oh,
I
okay.
think once
there's-
you've seen it, it'll be
Okay, it's here.
Yo,
Hare
there's
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So it's two parts. Basically, it's Hare Krishna and Hare Rama.
Love
But you're
it.
just saying twice
Please
Hare
ask what
Krishna.
we're singing after me.
Yeah.
so that we just
So that you can.
Yes.
Yes,
so we
absolutely
know what we're
love it.
saying. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So it's just like this, ne?
Yeah, Krishna
Ah, nice and
Krishna,
simple.
Hare.
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare.
I heard this.
Rama.
I
Is
heard
this
it.
what you heard?
That's what I was saying. Hare. I said Hare.
You heard Hare.
I heard Hare, but now I'm like, it was hours ago. But I was listening to it.
So then there's so many melodies to it.
Yeah, I heard someone like a proper like singer. Then I heard people like in a group singing it, like chanting. I think the one you did last week, there was some live. Oh no, yesterday you uploaded something with this yesterday.
yeah,
So I watched that one, and people were singing it.
Nightcap Conversations. We have Savia the monk in studio. Like I promised you, I'm going to learn a chant, and we've learned this chant. Are you ready for me?
Yes.
Okay, you're gonna lead us, ne? Okay.
One. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Yay! Sign me up today. If you've just joined in, we have Savia the monk in studio. We're talking all things being a monk in South Africa, in the world. Super interesting conversation. Thank you so much for joining us one more time. Said to you, if you have any questions for him whatsoever, send me a voice note on the YFM right now. Simply go, yo, Mncedisi, I want to know. Lena, I bugela ku YouTube. Me, the producer, was like, nyayaz le chant, ngai bona ku YouTube. So if you feel the same, if you have any questions, you can send them through. You're more than welcome to. Savia, talk me through a simple day in your life. What does that look like for you?
The alarm goes off at 3:30. Some days I just follow it, some days I snooze it. Until about
So monks
4
are also
o'clock.
flawed, right?
Yes, we're working with a mind.
Yes.
We're working with the body.
Yes.
And it's a practical, organic life.
Yeah.
So yes, then I take a shower, and typically if I'm at a temple, then we start our program at 4:30. We have some singing, honoring the previous teachers. Then we have a class around 7. Before that, we'll spend about an hour and a half chanting on our beads. And we have a class from a wonderful book called the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then breakfast. Then I'll get ready. Generally, I'm going to VITS or UJ. We've got a Bhakti Yoga Society there. I meet people, we discuss, and we do different, like people do come for yoga, they come for mantra meditation. People have their issues, they just want to ask a monk about a few things. And then I'll come back after lunch, and then I read my books. I've got a YouTube channel, so I attend to that, correspondence.
Content.
Yeah, and upload, edit. And evening, sometimes we've got some Zoom classes, meetings with different people. And on a good day, I'm tucking in at 9. Otherwise, depending what I've been up to, evening, I can sleep 10, 11. And then repeat.
All right, I'm not going to keep you for long so that you can go tuck in at 9. Now I feel bad. I'm like, no, I feel bad.
Don't worry.
You mentioned, you said if you're in the temple, but and then earlier you mentioned a monastery. So I want to find out what's the difference between a temple and a monastery, or what is a monastery? What happens at a monastery or a temple?
So the monastery is where monks stay. Generally it's men, and then bigger temples have men and women who live on the property or just near the property.
Hey, I'm so sorry to cut you. Actually, now it dawns on me. Do we find women monks that are women?
Yes, we find women monks, but then they are classified differently in terms of how they look, how they dress, and some of the rules that really apply to the men.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Sorry. As you were defining a monastery where male monks live.
Yes. So the temple is then a place where there's worship, where people come together different days to worship. So the temple and the monastery sometimes are one place. Sometimes the monastery is apart, just where people dwell, and then they go to a temple.
All right.
Yeah. So it's synonymous, you could say.
All right.
Yeah.
I love that. So, we called you in and you said to us, you know what, I've got 5 tips that I'm going to give you because we're all fighting on this journey, you know, the journey of being better. I liked what you said earlier on. You said simpler living and higher thinking, I said, is what you said. So, please, I'm yearning. 5 tips that you are going to give me and the rest of the wires in terms of the year that's coming ahead, maybe how we can recenter ourselves. Do you have those ready for me?
Yes, and they're not so complicated. 1 would be early to bed and early to rise.
How do you get the early to bed part right? Because I always find that I get into bed, I'm like, yeah, we're sleeping at 9 today. Shem, you can best believe I'm going to sleep at midnight because I'm doing other things. I'm on my phone, I'm being distracted, Netflix. How do you get it right?
Yes, it's you mentioned distractions. So we've cultivated and conditioned our minds and our bodies to be sort of night owls, especially this audiovisual, you mentioned Netflix. So if you want to get to that level where you can rest early, then you have to slowly offload some of the stimulating engagements in the night. So these phones and these LCD screens are simply just to keep us away from the natural order. At that point, the body is designed, it should be winding down because the natural light of the sun is gone. But now there's this artificial lights, which are actually not actually good for our system. It's tricking our system to think that we should be up. So it's a work in progress. And most of our lives are designed such that we actually leave a chunk of important things in our lives to do in the night. So you know what to do. You work in radio, sometimes you must be out here. But those who are not there, if you can rest early and get up early, the early hours of the morning are really the best for being productive, making your plans, exercising, do your meditation. So you're basically mapping out your day.
Love that. So the first one we have, early rest, early rise. Right, number 2.
Number 2, it's about your health. Take care of your health. The health of the body, the health of the mind, and actually your health, self, the soul, spiritual health. Because the body is your greatest asset, the mind greater still, and yourself are the most important thing because you're part and parcel of the greatest person, God. So we want to make sure that healthy body, healthy mind, so that we can be functional and we can achieve whatever goals that we have planned and whatever duties we need to execute.
Absolutely love that. Health is wealth. Take care of your mind, your body, and your soul. Number 3.
3, regulate.
Ish.
And
I'm
moderate.
already scared of it. I'm already scared of it. Right, talk me through.
Regulate and moderate your eating, your recreation, and your spending.
Hey. Now in January when we're broke. Yeah. I hear you, Sabi. I hear you. Yeah.
So we have not an infinite amount of time in life. So moderation is always good. It's a middle line. So excess is always dangerous. There's some things you can be excessive in, which are spiritual activities. Indulge. They're very positive. Some things, and the finance. Some of us work well. Some people work really tough jobs to get that money.
Like me. Tough job that I'm doing here.
And then the tongue the nose, the eyes, the ears, the genitals, they plunder that money because we're not regulated, we're not controlling them. So someone else is controlling our senses for us and therefore controlling our money, controlling our time.
Okay. Regulate, moderate, please. I mean, when you work a hard job like me, you please. All right, number 4, Savia.
Number 4, I'll give you a book plug. This year, find yourself a book called Bhagavad Gita as it is. Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita
As
it is. Does that mean?
The book is called Bhagavad Gita as it is.
All right.
Yes, by to be too much. By
Yeah.
Prabhupada.
Okay.
Find it.
All right. Let's go. Number 5.
Number 5. I want to say make a plan and follow that plan. Without a plan, then you're blind as to where you're going. Then you'll be hitting like that person who makes the bullseye after the arrow hits. So we want to have the bullseye, so then we shoot the arrow. Not that we shoot the arrow, then draw the bullseye around it.
100%.
So make a plan and then work your plan and be patient.
The best advice I've ever received, I think, was if you fail to plan, you
plan to fail.
Absolutely love it. We have Savia the Monk in studio with us tonight. We've got 10 minutes left with you before I let you go. Got a couple more questions that I want to ask you. Then we'll chant one more time. Then you'll tell me what the chant means. But I want to know, what are the key principles in the Krishna consciousness? Because you spoke a lot about Krishna and you spoke about how they're universal principles. What are the most key ones? Maybe you can give me 2.
That everyone is an eternal servant or child of God. We are spiritual in nature and we live in a temporary material body. So the principle of life is to find service where we will find the greatest happiness. We are always serving. Some of the services because we are getting something back. So we want to serve ultimately out of love. So most people, our service is out of fear. If I don't have money, if I don't do this, maybe God strike me down, so we go to God maybe. Others will go to God out of desire. He's got everything, I want something, let me pray to him so he can give me something. Others do it out of duty. He has already given me life, body and mind, family, so let me go and thank him. Ultimately, we want not that I am getting something from God, but then we want to go simply because how can I serve you? So the principle of divine service, that's our nature.
That's absolutely beautiful. You spoke about how one of the principles involves being eternal beings. I want to talk to you about reincarnation. I don't want to say what's the story there, but talk to me about reincarnation. Do you believe that if I pass on Earth, I come back as a cat? If I'm understanding reincarnation right, please talk me through your belief and how you work through that principle.
So reincarnation is a law of nature. If we look at nature, we see that time is not just going in a linear direction. Everything in nature is cyclic. The seasons, the day, our clock, the planets are moving in cycles. Birth, death, old age, disease, birth. So the soul is eternal. It gets a body in the womb. It develops, it stays, it dwindles, it dies. At death we say Mncedisi has gone. So who has gone if the body is there in the coffin and is being put in the ground? And so where has he gone? People like to say rest in peace. So who's resting?
The soul, I get it? Because we say may your soul rest in peace.
Yes, we say the soul is resting in peace. But then reincarnation means where you go is according to the consciousness you've developed. So those who have developed godly consciousness, lovers of God, they go to the place where God is the central figure. Those who still have desires that have to do with this material world, just as we receive this body at birth, you get a suitable one to fit your psycho-physical nature. So sometimes we say this person is a dog, this guy's a pig. You can understand that consciousness doesn't qualify to live in the heavenly realms. So by just this hope, even someone who's clearly criminal and sort of low grade, at the funeral we all say, oh, he's gone to heaven. But you didn't see any heavenliness about that being. So we're not going to be taken to a place where we don't want to be. We don't want to serve God and let him be the center of our lives. So why do we expect that we're going there? But we do want to still enjoy in this world, build up our fame and stuff. So we're given a chance to come to our own realization that enough of chewing this bubble gum, it's run out of
flavor.
So let me taste something better.
So it's not necessarily a belief in the concept of heaven or hell. It just, you believe that when you pass, you then, I don't want to say transcend, but you go into a state of what your consciousness was.
Yes, you're given a body, just like the cat got its body in the womb. The dog got its body. So all are souls, like you and me, but they're just encased in different bodies.
So I can't come back as a cat.
It's possible if you've got catty ways.
I did not see that coming.
But for you now, as a human being, you've already started spiritual process. Like you did some mantra meditation. These activities, they disqualify us for a lower birth. When the human being has spiritual impressions, then he's already disqualified for animal life. So the goal is that our consciousness has to become godly. It has to be Krishnized, as we say. Then you are, but if you stay on the animal platform, interested only in eating, sleeping, mating, and fighting, then you're just an animal on two legs.
Of course, we might come back as a lion. Because I know, I get it. No, I get it, Savia. I get it. Quick one, I want to pick your brain. Do you believe in the concept of soulmates, but not necessarily just soulmates in a linear way, but soulmates that meet in different lifetimes?
Yeah, so that already just shows how actually we know that it's not the end at death, right? This idea of reincarnation is already fitting with this idea of soulmate. Otherwise, it's null and void. Yes, souls do create deep attachments in a lifetime. Sometimes you meet people and it feels like you've known them
forever.
Yes, because of that attraction that we've created, that attachment, it acts like a magnet that can pull souls in, across time and space. And so sometimes even your siblings, your spouse can be someone who has either positive or negative attachment in previous life. Sometimes parents feel like this child was born to haunt me. Yes, your enemy. Your enemy has come in this life as your child.
Yeah. That's so interesting. That is so interesting. Wow. Okay. Before I let you go, we've got about 7 minutes left. Do you ever walk around in the streets and people walk up to you and have questions about the way that you dressed? Or do you ever get teased about it? Do people make fun of you? Do you ever get that?
Yes, I get people coming up to me, asking me, interested in what I'm about. I get also people sort of kind of checking me out, and then you can hear some giggles,
some comments.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Do you feel like you say, for example, Mncedisi walks up to you and say, "Hi, okay, I see you dressed in this particular way. I'm quite interested in what's going on." Do you give me the full-blown version, or do you just give me like a betinyana, so as to not overwhelm me? How do you answer them?
Yeah, you sort of suss out or gauge the level of the person. As soon as they speak, you can pick up what they're interested in. Some people just want to know the box, like what is this called? So they walk away, they can name it. Others actually want to understand the content of what you are up to. And so the questions let you know the mentality of the person and their need. And I tend to really like to ask them what they mean about what they are asking. Then I can better serve them. And definitely baby steps, but some people just want to keep you for a long time and then they're really interested and we can really get into it, because that's why I dress like this so people can see possibly somebody who can give me some knowledge.
Oh, hey, this is somewhat. Savia, I have to ask you, if you had a Ferrari, would you give it away? Let's say you are the monk who gave away his Ferrari. If you had a Ferrari right now, or a Bugatti, or a fancy car, would you give it away?
I'd sell it.
And then what would you do with the money?
And with the money, there's a lot of things I'd like to see happen. I'd probably get a lot of instruments, harmoniums, drums, teach a lot of people how to do mantra meditation using these instruments.
Maybe build your own monastery?
Yeah, with kit a studio so we can broadcast this powerful information to people 24/7.
I absolutely love that. So let's talk about what you're working on now. Before we let you go, we have about 5 minutes left. What are you working on now? Are there any particular projects, classes that you're hosting? What's going on with you now?
Okay, we're preparing for the year at Wits University and at UJ. So we are just waiting for orientation week. Also currently preparing to travel. I'll be going to India for about 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also planning a trip to New York. I'll be there for a month.
Must be so nice.
We have a Bhakti Support Club where we're helping those who are trying to get into the spiritual practice, and that will be first half of the year. These are some of the plans.
All right. The rest of the year, what's happening with you besides the traveling? What can we look forward to? What are you looking forward to for 2023? What are your hopes and dreams and wishes for this year?
This year, I want to get a bigger voice. I want more people to know about Krishna consciousness, about Bhakti. I'd like to be more visible in Johannesburg in South Africa, on the ground, online. I'd like to do my travel definitely in summer. Mm-hmm. Some of the countries I go to, there's some invitations in winter. I don't want to do that. They get snow and I don't like
You're a Swati person. Swati people are there from the low veld. It's hot, so you don't take well to cold weather.
So
do you?
we've got bushfire in South African winter, so that would be nice. We've got some guests from Brazil coming in June, so we just want to show them South Africa. It's good, it's bad, and it's mixed vibes. And I'm looking forward to growth, just on a personal note, and also to see the people around me really thrive and reach their deepest potential.
I hope everything you wish for comes to pass. Talking about visibility, where can we find you? Social media, where do we follow you? Your YouTube channel? Give us all those details.
You can find me on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok as Savia the Monk, Savya the Monk. And feel free to leave me some DMs, some comments. I like to respond to that. And in the year, find us at Wits University, 2nd floor, Matrix Building, room 203.
I used to be a Witsi. Did you know? Did I tell you? I used to also be a Witsi. I couldn't do the moderation and what did you say, limitation?
Regulate and moderate.
Yeah, I couldn't do the regulating and the moderation, but I was also at Wits. So because before I let you go, we need to chant one more time to close this up in a beautiful spirit. Everybody in studio has to chant with me. Are we ready? Are you gonna lead us?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you so much, Savia. Thank you so much. It's been the Nightcap Conversations.